He planned it like a ghost. No name, no trace, no digital fingerprint, or so he thought. On the morning of December 4th, 2024, a man walked through the glass lobby of a Midtown Manhattan hotel, stepped into the cold, and fired 3 shots that would shake an entire industry to its foundation. Within hours, investigators had almost nothing. Within 5 days, they had everything. This is not just the story of a murder. This is the story of what happens when a calculated mind, brilliant enough to build a ghost, underestimates the one thing that never blinks, never forgets, and never lies. The data. Brian Thompson was the kind of man who didn't make front pages until the morning he did. The CEO of United Healthcare, one of the largest health insurance companies in America, was stepping outside the New York Hilton on December 4th for an investor conference. A routine morning on the surface. Another suit, another briefcase, another day in corporate America. But someone had been watching and waiting. The shooter moved quickly, deliberately, covering the distance between target and trigger with the precision of someone who had rehearsed this in their mind long before they rehearsed on the ground. 3 shots, a ghost gun, untraceable, 3D, printed components, no serial number. Casings hand-marked with 3 words: deny, defend, depose. Insurance industry language. Someone had done their research. And then, he vanished. In the days that followed, the NYPD had what amounted to a ghost. The suspect had checked into a Manhattan hostel under a false name. Mark Russo. Paid in cash. Left almost nothing behind. He moved through the city like a man who had studied the architecture of invisibility. No social media activity. A burner phone. A meticulously constructed false identity. On paper, and in the databases that power modern law enforcement. He simply did not exist. But here is what every ghost eventually forgets. The body always leaves something behind. From the hostel room, a water bottle, food scraps, the biological residue of a living human being passing through space. DNA. And from that single thread, investigators began to pull. What happened next was a masterclass in modern forensic investigation, and a cautionary tale for anyone who believes they can outrun the digital age. Hundreds of cameras had captured the suspect, but cameras only give you a face, and a face without a name is a ghost wearing a different mask. So investigators did something the suspect had not fully accounted for. They went to the apps. In the architecture of modern urban life, your movement is not your own. Every rideshare, every booking, every digital transaction leaves a pulse in the dark, a timestamp, a coordinate, a record that persists long after you think the moment has passed. Investigators found it in a Lyft account, a single ride, taken by a user whose account, upon deeper excavation, threaded back through layers of false identity, until it reached a real name, a real face, and a real history. Luigi Mangione, 26 years old, Ivy educated, from a prominent Maryland family. The man who had crafted a ghost had left a digital fingerprint in the one place he likely thought was routine: a car ride. Before we go further, because what comes next is where this case becomes something else entirely, consider this. In the 21st century, the perfect crime doesn't fail because of a witness. It fails because of data. Stay with me. 5 days after the shooting, a McDonald's employee in Altoona, Pennsylvania recognized a face. Not from a news alert, not from a police bulletin, from the internet. The suspect's image had been circulated so widely, through social media, through news, through the organic engine of collective recognition, that a minimum wage worker in a small Pennsylvania town became, in effect, an instrument of modern law enforcement. The call came in. Officers arrived. And what they found on Luigi Mangione when they arrested him was, in many ways, as extraordinary as the crime itself. In his backpack, the ghost gun, a suppressor, a fake New Jersey ID, a fake Pennsylvania ID, his real passport, and a handwritten document, 3 pages, a manifesto. In it, Mangione railed against the American health insurance system. He referenced the very language etched into those shell casings: deny, defend, depose, a reference to a legal strategy used by insurance companies to delay and deflect claims. This was not random. This was, by his own account, a statement. As of March 2026, Luigi Mangione faces two parallel legal realities. In New York State, murder charges, a trial currently scheduled for June 2026. At the federal level, charges that carry the possibility of the death penalty. And, threading through both cases, a battle not over what happened, but over what the law is allowed to see. Pre-trial hearings have been dissecting the evidence collected at the moment of Mangione's arrest. Body camera footage revealed that officers collected more from Mangione than was initially disclosed. Handwritten notes, additional materials whose admissibility is now being argued before a judge. A ruling is expected May 18, 2026. What that ruling decides could reshape the prosecution's entire case. Because here is the surgical truth of modern criminal law. It is not enough to find the ghost. You have to prove, within the exacting architecture of due process, that every piece of evidence you found was found lawfully. The ghost gun, the manifesto, the digital trail, the DNA, each one a story, each one a battlefield. But this case asks something larger than guilt or innocence. It asks, in a world where every ride, every search, every transaction is logged, where the ghost always leaves a bite behind, what is privacy? And what does it mean that a 26-year-old with no criminal record, from a wealthy family, with every advantage that society offers, chose this? Whatever you believe about the motivation, whether you see a killer or a symbol, a criminal or a canary in a coal mine, the data doesn't take sides. The data simply records. And in this case, it recorded everything. Luigi Mangione sits in a cell tonight, awaiting a trial that will define not just his fate, but perhaps the limits of what digital evidence can and cannot do in an American courtroom. His ghost lasted 5 days. The data lasted forever. This has been Savvy Crime. If this investigation opens something in you, a question, a thread worth pulling, subscribe. Because every case we cover with the same precision the truth demands. The next case is already waiting.